well, you may not know this, and our next guest may not know this, but he is responsible in some ways for the success of Rebel News, because when I was at Sun News Network, I watched Phelim McAleer, our next guest, and his wife Anne McElhenney crowdfund an entire Hollywood quality $2 million production for a movie called Gosnell, the untold story of America's most prolific serial killer. I had seen Phelim and Anne make the great movie Frack through crowdfunding, but to see that an independent, conservative-leaning filmmaker could ignore the establishment and raise $2 million online to make such a high-quality production, I didn't think it was possible. But that was the role model, the template upon which Rebel News was born. Crowdfunding based on passionate supporters ignoring the establishment. I don't think he knows that, but through his inspiration, Phelim McAleer helped give birth to Rebel News, in a way. Well, Phelim has another great initiative about, and we always like to talk about them, and we always like to encourage our Canadian viewers to support them. This one is very timely, and I'll let Phelim himself tell us about it. It's called Obamagate, the movie, and he joins us now via Skype from Hollywood. Phelim, great to see you again. You really are a role model for independent journalists like ourselves. Tell us about your next project.
Well, yeah, well, thank you for those kind words, Ezra. I mean, the Rebel media has really, I'm constantly amazed at your journalism. It's wonderful, and I'm glad that I played a small part in it. So our project is the Obamagate movie. So as you know, we did FBI Lovebirds, which was a verbatim play about the text messages of Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, the FBI lovebirds, who were plotting to destroy the Trump candidacy and the Trump presidency. Well, it's since emerged that so was everyone else. So was James Comey. So was James Brennan. They were going to destroy it by any means necessary, by prosecuting Flynn, by producing fake warrants, fake information, fraudulent information to investigate the Trump campaign team. And this is all there in the documents. And some of it is so pompous and so illegal, it is almost funny. And it is funny. And when you've got these great actors reading, acting out what was going on behind closed doors, it's a tragic comedy.
Huh. Now, you've really popularized what you call verbatim theater. I know you've done that, if I'm not mistaken, with the Trayvon controversy, people just reading court testimony. And I remember in one case, the actors themselves rebelled because they couldn't even believe the facts that they were reading. But when you read primary documents, there's no he said, she said, that's not how it was. You are reading the historical record. The fact that your verbatim theater is so successful tells me that the world has been lied to by the mainstream media, since it should not be shocking to read the text messages between these FBI lovebirds. It should not be shocking to read the memos by James Comey and James Brennan, but it is simply because we haven't been shown it by the mainstream media. Is that right?
Yeah. I always say, thank God the mainstream media is so biased and so bad, because I would be out of work. I mean, I'm looking forward to the day I'm out of work. I'm back where I was in a newsroom writing stories, but they will not cover the truth. I mean, 9 of the actors, it was the Ferguson shooting. So I took the grand jury testimony from Ferguson and had actors reenact what the witness said. 9 of the actors walked out. In some ways, it's not their fault. They were told a lie, and when the truth hit them, they couldn't handle it. And this is what's wrong. This is the truth is shocking. When you see, and Peter Strzok has a new book out now, the FBI lovebird Peter Strzok, and in it, every time it's reviewed favorably, they talk about his anti-Trump texts. These are not anti-Trump texts. These are not Trump orange man bad. These are plans and conspiracies by the upper echelons of the FBI to investigate and undermine the Trump candidacy and the Trump presidency on fake dossiers and on fake information to get FISA warrants. The warrants that are supposed to be so hard to get, they just simply made it up because they didn't want Trump to be elected. They're anti-democratic, and this is what annoys people so much. This is what, and you should, I mean, when we did FBI Lovebirds in DC, you should have seen the response of the audience. They couldn't believe the truth was there in front of them, and they loved it. They ate it up.
Well, I'm very excited about this. Dean Cain, I first watched him when he was playing Superman. That was years ago. He's an A-list actor. I'm very impressed with the actors you've been able to put together, because it's hard to have anything close to pro-Trump, let alone, I mean, even just being fair to Trump gets you blacklisted in Hollywood, let alone doing anything supportive of him. Between you, Mel Gibson, and Clint Eastwood, I think I've just named the 3 working directors in Hollywood that aren't Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden campaign staffers. It's got to be tough for a guy like Dean Cain to hang out with you and hang out with a project like this. Well,
Dean's a very special person, and he loves playing Peter Strzok, and he loves telling the truth. And actually, we just released a video of Dean explaining why he's taking part in this, and you can see it at ObamagateMovie.com. But he just feels it's important. And we have, some people may remember Jeff Colby, the character Jeff Colby from Dynasty, back in the 80s. He's going to play James Comey at his most pretentious and pompous best. And, it's great that there are courageous actors there. Of course, there are cowardly actors too. 9 of them walked out during Ferguson. And when we had Ferguson on in New York, one of them decided to give a speech from the stage. I mean, these are misled people are bad people. There are some great people as well, but it's important that this truth gets out there. Mainstream. So the mainstream media, Peter Strzok has a book out, spending millions marketing it. The Comey Rule, a Showtime mini-series, is coming out at the end of September. They spent $40 million making it, 40, and they're spending another $40 million marketing it. And we're going to make this movie for 150,000. We're going to do it. We're going to do it Hamilton style. Hamilton, they performed Hamilton over a couple of days, and filmed different versions of it and released it. And it's going to be a film play, but it's going to be close-ups with action and that. So it's going to be a hybrid of the two. It's going to be a very entertaining way of getting the truth out. And don't forget, it's all verbatim.
That's very exciting. I have seen trailers, promotional videos for this movie, or the miniseries, The Comey Rule. It's beautifully done, extremely high production values, $40 million to make it, $40 million to produce it. That's the kind of budget you'd expect for a 007 movie, for a Harry Potter movie. The fact that they're spending it on political propaganda in the weeks before U.S. presidential election tells you all you need to know. And so there's that, and then there's the Netflix deal with the Obamas, the entire Hollywood media establishment. We're not even talking millions anymore. We're into the billions being thrown against Trump. Yeah. And there you are. Let's talk about how you're going to get your dough. I mean, Dean Cain, I'm sure he's not charging his full rate, but he's got to be paid, and the technical staff have to be paid, and you have to edit the thing. How much money are you looking to crowdfund to go up against the $80 million HBO propaganda? How much money are you looking for?
Well, we're looking for 150,000, which is a lot less, and it's been great.
Not million.
Yes, 100.
Just to make, if we were talking about Obama or Meghan Markle, we'd be in the millions. But it's $155,000. That sounds doable. You're crowdfunding that at, let me just make sure I got this right, ObamagateMovie.com.
Yeah, and I mean, we only announced it yesterday, and we're already 18% funded.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there is a hunger out there for the truth. But as you say, if you were Harry and Meghan promising to produce woke material, or the Obamas, I mean, the Obamas got something like 112 million from Spotify, and I mean for their podcasts, and so much for their documentaries that are propaganda. I mean, this is the thing. Liberals spend billions every year producing propaganda. Conservatives spend 500 million every year, every 4 years in election ads, and think they're winning. It's not a fair match. They are competing every day, and I've got my but I need this 150,000 to try and level the playing field. And by the way, the truth is much more compelling than their fiction.
Yeah,
so,
the truth. The late Andrew Breitbart, who really started dissident journalism more than a decade ago, he always said politics is downstream from culture. And I think one of the meanings of that is you can't lose the battle every single night on Netflix, HBO, Showcase, Crave, whatever the channels are, YouTube, and then expect to win it in a few months right before an election.
Yeah. Culture
has shaped people's minds on these issues for 4 years. Saturday Night Live, I mean, I don't think they do a good job, but every Saturday for 4 years they've been beating up Trump. That's the culture. You can't beat that with a quick campaign ad. Movies, plays, documentaries, the work you do, Phelim, is part of the fight back. We have helped before. We promoted, I remember the Gosnell film. Your film Frack Nation was a real inspiration to me too. I would like to, we're Canadian, so we're not, Canadians don't make donations to presidential campaigns, but Canadians can help produce a movie that counters the propaganda. And I know we ask our people to crowdfund a lot, but I would like to encourage our Canadians to go to ObamagateMovie.com, not just for that movie, but for Phelim McAleer and Anne McElhenney, who, I say again, you can count on one hand's fingers the number of people in Hollywood on our side. And I can only imagine the peer pressure and the shunning and the cancel culture and the deplatforming. We heard that 9 of the actors in their Ferguson play just simply mutinied. So just out of moral support for Phelim and Anne, I'm going to go, as soon as I'm out of the studio here, I'm going to go to my laptop and make a personal donation, Phelim. I wish you good luck.
Thanks.
When's the movie coming out? And it's on YouTube? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're going to release it free on YouTube so everyone can see it. It's going to come out around the same time as the Comey Rule. Comey Rule is coming out the 27th and 28th of September. By the way, I've seen it. It's awful, but it's propaganda. And it's coming out at the end of the month, and our film is going to be coming out at the end of the month too. We're going to, ride on the same advertising, try and piggyback on their publicity.
Well, that's great. I tell you, Phelim, if we had 10 Phelims, we could really turn things around. Yeah. We have one, and that's still pretty great.
Well, thank you, Ezra. I'm a great admirer of everything Rebel News does. You've had more reporters arrested than I've had hot dinners, and that's a good thing.
Well, these days, that is a feather in our cap. I wouldn't have said so 5 years ago, but these days. All right, Phelim, we'll let you go. You got a lot of work going on. You're producing stuff all the time. I'm going to go, and I'm going to make a personal donation this very moment.
Thanks, Ezra. We really appreciate it.
All right, take care, my friends. Once again, that's ObamagateMovie.com. I know we ask you to support a lot of things in Canada, but would you agree with me that supporting Phelim and Anne in their Hollywood campaigns for the truth is very important? That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.